Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. We're discussing this verse. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ, that recite to them the story of the person who we gave him knowledge, we gave him piety, but unfortunately he preferred the dunya over that. And just briefly again, that the Musa alayhi salam uh, was instructed to fight with the Jabbarin. And the Jabbarin went to Balaam bin Ba'ura that they must make dua against Musa alayhi salam. And Balaam bin Ba'ura said that no, I can't do this. This is the Prophet of Allah Ta'ala. These are the chosen servants of Allah Ta'ala. There's no way we can overcome them. We know way we can vanquish them, right? They are the chosen servants of Allah Ta'ala. And he refused. But eventually they plied him with gifts. And the result of that, he capitulated. And then he made dua against them, right? So this is an old story this year that, I don't know how far this is true, but they say, I heard this must check out true, that initially when they want to introduce television to Saudi Arabia, so the ulama saw the dangers of television. They saw, look man, they saw the dangers, and they spoke out against television. They said, no, we're not going to allow this television in our country. This is going to bring music, nudity, lewdness, and all, it's going to bring the Western culture. So the ulama spoke out against television. So what the government done? They just said, okay, we're leaving the television out. So what they done then? Then they started employing the ulama and gave them big, big salaries. And now when they were accustomed to big salaries, now they said we bring the TV in. Now they were afraid to lose their big salaries, so they couldn't speak out against the television. So same thing here, they done too. So it's the same tricks, the same old tricks in different guises, in different forms, right? So exactly the same thing here, that they captured Balaam bin Ba'ura with gifts, etc., and his wife, etc. So that was the first one. Al-malu wal-banuna zinatul hayati dunya. Then, after he made dua, I told you his tongue was hanging out. And still again, this was not enough. Now he had another plan. He told him, look here, these people, these Israelites, they are far away from home, they're away from their families, they didn't have any exposure to women folk. You can trap them with this. In fact, there is another beautiful story also from the Sahaba Ikram in your Sirah, where the Romans, they tried to trap the Sahaba Ikram in the same way. Anyway, he said, there's only one way you can overcome the Israelites. Decorate your beautiful girls and send them to the Israelites, giving them instructions that they should not put up any resistance against whatever is done by the Israelites. Being away from the homes are likely to involve themselves in adultery. Being the most detestable according to Allah Ta'ala, adultery has to incur the wrath of Allah Ta'ala. So if you get these people, the Israelites involved in adultery, then we can beat them, because adultery is the worst crime. It is a crime that brings the anger of Allah Ta'ala. So once you get them involved in the adultery, they will be the makhdoom. They will have the anger of Allah Ta'ala, then we can beat them. And adulterous people can never win their enemy, right? And see there, and even Balaam bin Ura, Balaam, he was a pious person, right? He was a pious person, but he made a mistake. Even he's saying these words here. Even he's saying this word. And adulterous people can never win the enemy. This satanic suggestion was accepted by the people, and they acted accordingly. A prominent person of the Israelites fell prey to the trap. So unfortunately, one of the Israelites, the Jews, they fell prey. The Prophet Musa made all his effort to stop him from this act, but he involved himself in this wicked act. Consequently, a plague overtook them as a punishment, with a death toll of 70,000 people in one day. The person who had committed the sin was murdered along with the girl and was hung by the Israelites at a public place. So the person who done this, he was killed as a punishment, and the person who committed zina, they were put up, right, as a lesson. They then turned to Allah Ta'ala in repentance, and as a result of the sin, 70,000 people. So this shows you also that zina, when zina is rampant, when zina, then plagues come. There's another hadith also that when zina, nudity, singing girls and all stuff become, then plagues, poverty, drought all become, they will do this inshallah. The same thing here. As a result of the zina, there was a plague in which 70,000 people died. They then turned to Allah Ta'ala in repentance and asked for his forgiveness, which relieved them of this disgraceful punishment. The Holy Quran used the expression of reeling out for Balaam's disregard regards to the knowledge of wisdom, Allah Ta'ala had given him through his verses. The Arabic expression, fan salakha mina, he wriggled himself out from the verse of Allah signifies the coming out of an animal from his skin like a snake, which leaves its own skin having no concern. This indicates that Balaam had totally disregarded the knowledge and wisdom he was granted by Allah Ta'ala. So interesting here. Fan salakha means to slip out of something, to wriggle yourself out of something. So like how, you must have seen, they had a museum here before PE, we could go see where I think that the snake park is still there. When a snake shed its old skin, so it slithers, it, it so now this is very interesting. Why did Allah compare him abandoning his knowledge to a snake wriggling out of something or something coming out of some restrictive thing? Why? Because look here, your knowledge is supposed to restrict you. I know this is haram. I know this is halal. I know this is what we are supposed to do. I know this is what we're not supposed to do. So your knowledge is a restriction for you. Your knowledge is a restriction for you. So like how that snake now came out of that old skin. It removed that restriction. Same thing. This person's knowledge that I cannot accept this gift. I cannot accept this gift for my wife. I cannot make dua against Musa alayhi salam. So he broke the shackles. He wriggled himself out of the shackles. There's also reference to this in the hadith about ribqatul Islam. Even the hadith we done now in Mishkah Sharif, that they will come out of Islam like how a arrow goes through the animal without a sign of blood or without a sign of dung. The animal will go right through. So in other words, like how the arrow goes through, Islam will come out of them. So you come out of the Islam, you wriggle yourself, you free yourself from the shackles. Because as Muslims, we are shackled. We can't do as we want to. We can't say as we want to. We can't look as we want to. We can't eat what we want to. We can't say what we want to. We can't sleep when we want to. We can't sleep. Fajr time, we have to be awake. We can't sleep before Isha time. So we are restricted. So that restrictions, he wriggled himself. He freed himself from that. So this is a very, very beautiful baligh, very beautiful, eloquent comparison. So he freed himself from the restrictions that Islam has put upon him. So there again, this indicates that Balaam had totally disregarded the knowledge that's supposed to restrict him by Allah Ta'ala. The text phrase, فَأَدْبَعُ الشَّيْطَانِ, so Satan overtook him, implies that as long as he possessed the knowledge of the verse of Allah Ta'ala, Satan was unable to possess him. See, when only was Shaitan able to take control of him? When he excused himself, he relieved himself from the knowledge of the Quran or from the divine knowledge. Maybe the Quran wasn't there. When he relieved himself from the knowledge, now you say, but as long as he was following that knowledge, he was not susceptible to Shaitan. As soon as Balaam was deprived of the great gift of Allah Ta'ala, he overtook him, and right. So when he left that, now Shaitan took hold of him. Consequently, he became one of the misguided people. فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ, he was from the misguided people. Okay, so that is a brief English introduction. Let's start with the Arabic text, inshallah. We can read it. We got about 5 minutes. We can read, inshallah. Bismillah, tafadal. You put the right page on the what you call it, eh? Bismillah, tafadal. Right. So وَرَجُلٌ مِنْ بَنِي Israel, he was from the people of the Bani Israel, from the previous ummah. يقال له بلعم بن باعورة. His name was Balaam Ba'ura, right? Right. وقال قتادة, Imam Qatada says, and he narrates in the Bas, هو سيف بن راهب. His name was Saif ibn Rahib, right? Right. So Ka'b says, كان رجل من أهل بلقاء. He was a person from the people of Balqa, from the tribe of Balqa, right? Right. And he knew, in some words, some hadiths, this is referred to as Ismul A'zam, the greatest name of Allah Ta'ala. So this was in the previous ummah, but even in this ummah, there's a hadith that say that, Ya Allah Ta'ala, you have a name that whenever you are asked or you are any dua is made to you by this name, then definitely the dua is accepted. So this is like a secret code. Some ulama say the name is Allah. Some says Allahu Akbar or whatever, but you do that hadith in the later stage. But there is a name But whenever dua is made to Allah Ta'ala and Allah Ta'ala is taken by that name, then definitely the dua is accepted. So same thing here. He knew the Ismul Azam, that name of Allah Ta'ala by which dua would definitely be accepted. And by virtue of this, he was known as Mustajabud Da'wat. Mustajabud Da'wat, like Istajaba, Istajib, Mustajib, the one who answered, Mustajab, the one who's answered, that his du'as would always be accepted. It was famous, like how even, I don't know if we have anybody like this in PE, but the previous times you had people that, everybody knows that they go to this person here, make dua. He's a patient servant of Allah Ta'ala. When he make dua, his dua is never accepted. So different communities, but I don't know if anybody like this today in PE or Twitter. Do you know anybody like that? Man, you know anybody? Your wife maybe? No? Don't know anybody. We are unfortunate we don't have anybody, but certain places they say go to this pious person, definitely his dua will be accepted. So he was synonymous that when you ask him to make dua, definitely his dua will be accepted. They say, وَكَانَ يَعْلَمُ الْإِسْمَ الْأَكْبَرِ. He knew the greatest name of Allah Ta'ala, the one by which du'as are definitely accepted, right? Yeah, I can say Muqaddis, Maqdis. وَكَانَ مُقِيمًا بِبَيْتِ الْمَقْدِسِ مَعَ الْجَبَّارِينَ. He used to live in the precincts of Masjid al-Aqsa with the Jabbari, right? Right, but yeah, Ibn Abbas, he's from the people of Yemen. Right. يقال له بلعم. His name was Bal'am. آتاه الله آياته. Allah Ta'ala gave him his signs. Think what it means here. Allah Ta'ala gave him a special relationship. Allah Ta'ala gave him a special nisbat. Allah Ta'ala gave him knowledge. But فَتَرَكَهَا. He abandoned it in lieu of something of the dunya. وقال مالك بن دينار كان من علماء بني إسرائيل. He was from amongst the ulama of Bani Israel. Right. So you can say wakana mujabat. He was one whose da'as was ready. Ajaba yujibu ujiba mujabun. That's the ismul maf'ul, readily accepted. He was one who's readily accepted of du'as, right? Right. Yuqaddimunahu. They used to advance him at the time of difficulties. Let's use him. Right. Or you can say yaqdimunahu. They would come to him at the time of difficulty that he must make dua, etc. Right. So بعثه نبي الله موسى عليه السلام إلى ملك مدين يدعوه إلى الله. Nabi Musa alayhi salam also sent Balaam bin Ba'ur, right, to the king of Madian to invite him to Allah Ta'ala. Right. So فَأَقْطَعَهُ وَأَطَاعُهُ. Right. He أعطاه, he cut him and he gave him فَيَتَّبِعُ دِينَهُ وَتَرَكَ دِينَ مُوسَى. Right. And right. So he didn't he followed Balaam bin Ba'ura rather, but he left the deen of Musa alayhi salam outright. Right, you know, it's the true deen, right? Sufyan ibn Uyaynata. Right. So yeah, also Sufyan ibn Uyaynata say this person's name was Balaam bin Ba'ura, right? Right. وقال ثقيف. Thaqif says وأمية بن أبي صلت. The person they're speaking about here is not Balaam bin Ba'ura, but rather is Umayyah bin Salt, right? Okay, let's stop. The time is up. We'll continue. So tomorrow on Saturday is only the tafsir. Inshallah, we'll read this, continue this tomorrow and do it tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdihi, subhanakallah.